Good morning. Today is July 9th, 2019 AD. Welcome to the Sludge Report, a side project of Uncle Benny's Creepy Campfire Stories. I am your host, Uncle Benny. That was Howard Beale's rant from 1976 film Network, and I encourage you to watch it. It's more relevant today, 43 years on, than ever. I hope you're mad as hell. And if you're not mad as hell, and you haven't realized what's been done to you over the years, over your life, what's been done to those you love, not just you, the mind control, the propaganda, the poisoning of your soul and your mind through television, radio, media, your government schools, your re-education camps is what they are. Oh, you went to university? You got a degree? Congratulations. You're one of them. At least that's what they're trying to do. But if you're here, you're probably not. You don't belong to them. You belong to the Lord. And that's what we're doing here, is that we are walking out who we're called to be in this world. Salt of the earth, yeah? So, got a little problem here. Just a moment. Just had a program close on me. I had some notes in it. So I want to tell you that we're going to go through a couple stories. I want to keep this short. I'd like to keep it 20 to 30 minutes, but I've actually gotten some feedback that some people like it longer. So, I aim to please. But actually, I'm aiming for 20 to 30 minutes, and it will probably be double that. There's a place that I like to sometimes go to, a restaurant, and you order 2 eggs, you get 4. You order 4 eggs, you get 8. I always joke, if you order no eggs, you're going to get 1 or 2, excuse me. All right, so one moment here. All right. Well, that's unfortunate. All my notes are gone, so I'll just have to wing it. Not a problem. I actually have the, here. It's a good thing I did this earlier. No problem. Bear with me. Technical difficulties. That happens when you're doing a live stream. What are you going to do about it? And that's one of the things, live without a net. I like that. Live without a net. So just a moment. Okay. So, all right. Anyway, that was from the film Network. It's a great movie. It's a poignant movie. It's an important movie. And it fits into what I'm doing here, with the Sludge Report. Really, this started as just a way for me to get less rusty. I needed to get more into the Word as I'd kind of gotten rusty. You know how it is. You don't crack it open for a while. You may know it. You may get streams in the desert. You hear messages, you hear this or that, because we have to be fed, continually, renewing our mind day by day. But then, do you ever really get down to the real nitty gritty and get your nose in the book, spend time with it, and this is the way I read the news. This is the way I, for many years, have been, over time, learning to understand the world as it's presented to us and has been for so long. Don't pay attention to what's on your screen. It's something to look at. We'll get to it in a minute, okay? But, I don't know if you go to church or where you go to church. You might get a little bit more of the Word here this morning than you usually do on a Sunday morning in a sermon. I don't know. I'm not trying to sermonize, but I'm going to read some passages, and even though I might speak verses, I'm going to read some passages, and there's something in it for you. Okay. So, we know the news is bad. It's always bad, like Howard Beale said. But the Lord is our shepherd, right? We shall not want for anything. We shall not want for peace, for sustenance, for provision, for clothing, for shelter. He'll make streams in the desert, okay? He makes us to lie down in green pastures, and he leads us beside the still waters, and he restores our soul. Now let me juxtapose this with what they are doing. Who is they? The powers that shouldn't be. Now, if you're new to the Sludge Report, and those of you who are not, forgive me for being repetitive, but these are early days. Sludge Report is a way of reframing what is one of the most popular news aggregates in the entire world. Now, I'm going to play another segment of that movie tomorrow, and I considered playing it today. And you'll see what I mean. Okay? So, forgive me for talking in a bit metered tone here. I'm trying to kind of choose my direction in what I'm doing. This is, again, live without a net, unscripted. And I also want it to count. And I don't want to lose my place or my train of thought. So when you don't want to lose your train of thought, then maybe your train should go a little slower. And that's what I'm doing right now. So anyway, the Drudge Report is started by Matt Drudge in Hollywood as a Hollywood gossip rag and a Washington, D.C. gossip rag. So it was, basically a gossip thing centering around activities of Hollywood and D.C. I argue that it still is, and we'll see that here in a minute. Matt Drudge is a conservative, he's the editor-in-chief, I guess, the owner of the Drudge Report. Ostensibly the owner. I don't know who really owns it or who controls him, because as we'll see, this is actually a propaganda machine, and it's a mind control tool, an agent, just like the television was, and we'll see that tomorrow as Howard Beale continues into his revelations, which are very good. And you can run out and get the movie tonight if you're that excited about it, but if you don't, I think I'm going to continue with a couple just very choice clips from that movie in the next day or two, and then go see it. And I think it will be more effective, possibly. Watch it on the weekend or something like that. I don't know. Do what you want. Do what you like, kid. So, at any rate, Matt Drudge is reportedly a homosexual. And I think he's based in Miami now. And why is that relevant? Why do you care? Well, my mom always told me, consider the source, okay? And when we see some of the things that are peppered in here continually, and I've talked about this before, for those of you who have seen it before, forgive me, the flies in the ointment, that he puts in here continually of, death, doom, and gloom, but more than that, lasciviousness, perverseness, prurient stuff. That's not news. So this is why I say it is still a gossip column, okay? And we'll get to that. There's various stripes of the of what I mean by the lascivious type of headlines and the news stories that come up, and that's a choice. And that's a choice that Mr. Drudge makes. Now, let's move on. So he leads us in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we will fear no evil, for he is with us. His rod and his staff, they comfort us. They prepare a table before us. He prepares a table before us in the presence of our enemies, and anoints our head with oil, and our cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow you and me all the days of our lives, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That, of course, the 23rd Psalm, a little bit, modified to be inclusive, but you can read it for yourself, to yourself. You can own it. You can claim it for yourself. It's for you. All Scripture is for, it's for you. It's for doctrine. It's for edification. All those things. So be edified. But, we're about to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Every day we get out of bed, we do. But when we open up, we turn on the television, we turn on the radio, we turn on the internet, and we listen to the news. And, we do. Most of us do. Whether it's you're getting it in your, from posts your friends make on your social media, or you subscribe to groups, or you get it, you're getting it. It gets to you. It has to. It's blanketed upon us. And most people feed on it. I know I have, want to know what's going on. And that's an ancient condition. I've forgotten who it was in Greece. That there was a certain group of people that they always gathered together because they wanted to hear the latest. It's the same. It's the same today. So, at any rate, we should fear no evil, and that's what the Sludge Report's about. Is spiritual warfare. Really, it really is. It is, because all of this, and I have not worked out a way to do the drawings in the new way I'm doing the recording, okay? But for those of you new, if you look at prior episodes, I do something called Doom Dots, where I might play a little music, and I go through and I just pull up a section of the page. Occasionally would do the whole page. I just put dots by all the headlines that are chaos and disorder, that are uncertainty and fear, that are doom and death and terror and alarmist, and I don't have to do it today. We can know that generally it's going to be well over 50% of every link, every headline is about doom and gloom. It's going to poison your mind if you are not if you've not built your house upon the rock, and that's what we're doing. If you're not standing upon the foundation of the truth and God's word, his promises, our hope to come, his soon return. I don't know if we'll get to Matthew 24 today, but it is pretty much the context of what we're talking about here, okay? So, moving on. This is big news right now. We've got one of the quote-unquote elites, Epstein case rocks elites. He's charged with molesting dozens of girls. Well, we've known about this for years, okay? He's got a private island. He had an airplane called Lolita Express. Never seen the movie Lolita, but you get the idea, okay? So, in this country we have a presumption of innocence. This is a completely different topic I ought to make an Uncle Benny's Creepy Campfire story about. But I've got projects lined up, and, this is not my full-time job. The presumption of innocence in this country is virtually gone because of what we've been conditioned to, how we've been conditioned to accept the news. You don't believe me? Read the comments of any one this guy even. Go to any one of these articles. If you can find one that still allows comments, that's another topic. If you can find one that has, there are people like, get me alone in a room with them, this and that. Well, odds are pretty high that this guy is what is being said he is. But, in this country we have a presumption of innocence, and we need to. It's lost, but we ought to. It's lost. It's gone. You'd be hard-pressed to find an individual. As you drive down the road, you think about all the cars coming at you, the cars coming from left and right at the stop sign, the cars behind you, and you think about all those people in the cars. How many of them could be fair and impartial and give someone the benefit of the doubt, the presumption of innocence? Very few. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all my brothers and all my friends, who cares about them? You be someone who gives people the benefit of the doubt. Wait and see what happens. But this doesn't concern us really much anyway, right? However, it does in the context of the Sludge Report and reframing what they're telling us. So this is a scapegoat. This is someone that is going to... The story, why are they giving us a story? I always say there's nothing put in front of you that's not for a reason, for a purpose, and it's important. And it also is... the timing's important. So this is a juicy story, right? But it's also one of the quote-unquote elite people, a billionaire of some degree. And he's linked to Trump and all this. And, he's apparently going down. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's a lot of things that could be said about this. It's not what I want to get into today. Obviously, this is not going to be a 20-minute video, so brace yourselves. But anyway, it to give you a false sense that the powers that shouldn't be are just and good, and they hate the things you hate naturally as much as you do. But that's not true. How do I know it's not true? I ain't got time for that now, okay? Just hang on tight. And over time, maybe you'll see. I'll point you in certain directions. And you're going to have to discover it for yourself. There's certain things we can only come to the conclusions of ourselves. The truths are too hard. They take too much time to really put the pieces together. It takes a long time sometimes. Because the truth is more than we can bear. Jesus, not his real name. And for those of you, again, who are new, I say that quite frequently. Pray to know his name. When you find out, tell me. Okay? Send me a message. And I've prayed that prayer. I've gotten my answers. But the point being is that that's not his real name. So I always say that because, I'm not a name person where somebody ends their prayers in Jesus' name. They didn't say it right. You're praying to the wrong person. No, Lord looks upon the heart, does he not? So at any rate, it is important though to continue to grow and to be in the truth. And that's an important thing. When you want someone to know your name, the Lord is a person. The Lord is a person. And we're created after his own image. And names are important. In fact, throughout the entire canon of 66 books, I'm only talking about, names are very important. All right. So back to what I was where I was going here is that this story, which you're going to be hearing about probably over time, it's going to be linked to Clinton, and there's again a divisive situation. This is going to be a left versus right. The people on the Democratic or liberal side are going to be pointing to Trump's comment he made and how he palled around with them somewhere here or there, went to dinner somewhere here or there. It's fodder. It's distraction. It's the art of misdirection. I talk about that a lot, okay? How important is this to you? Probably not very important. Forget about it. It's fodder. It's got everything. It's got rich and famous. There's probably beautiful women and beautiful girls involved. It's got sex. It's got probably drugs involved somewhere. I'm just speculating on that. But, it's got it all, right? So, at any rate, let's move on. All right, swamp floods. Yeah, I haven't read this story. Chaos hits Capitol, White House leaking, blah, blah, blah. So I want to get right to something that I noticed last night, because this has not changed much since last night. Even though they refresh it continually, it looks pretty much the same to me. But at the top here, got the web race in the middle column, okay? And like product placement, where they put things is important. Web race, Fox News over CNN, Drudge over Daily Mail, porn dominates. Okay, so if you click on this link, it takes you right over here. This is SimilarWeb. It's top websites ranking, top sites ranking for all categories in the United States. All right, let's see what they're talking about here. Number 1's Google. Number 2's YouTube. Number 3's Facebook. Number 4's Amazon. Number 5's Yahoo.com. Number 6 is Pornhub. Number 7 is xvideos.com. That's an adult, porn site. I don't know how to say this. Just XNXX, I guess. Adult. Then Twitter. So these 3 pornography sites are higher ranked, according to them, over Twitter, Instagram, eBay, Reddit, Wikipedia, Bing, Craigslist, MSN or Live, Hotmail, whatever you want to call it. It's changed over time. I don't know about that, but Outlook, Hotmail, MSN, it's kind of all the same right here at live.com. Xhamster, that's another porn site. Zillow, real estate. Netflix. We'll stop there, okay? Netflix. Don't you hear about Netflix all the time? Number 19. Pornhub's number 6. Okay, Uncle Benny, so what? What are you talking about? All right. Let me kind of spell it out for you. First of all, Mr. Drudge, or one of his underlings, made sure that you see that porn dominates, okay? This is at the top. Porn is a frequent topic on Mr. Drudge's page. Now, why is this page important? You don't have to go to it. No, but it's important, and we'll see it in the clip tomorrow, and I'll try to draw it home for you. 797 million visits in the past 31 days. 29 million in the past 24 hours. 10 billion in the past year. Now, are these all unique hits? Same session? I don't know. Okay. Even still, let's just break it down to 15 million monthly people. Now, these people are generally going to be pretty intelligent, pretty kind of paying attention. This is the most popular news aggregate conservative website in this on our earth. Okay, today, as far as I know. If you know of another one, let me know. I mean, I know. Look, there's all kinds of sites it links to. Okay, so there's other conservative sites, but this is the news aggregate that is pretty popular. And all right, so back to what the relevance is. Okay. Again, this is, if you're new to the Sludge Report, I talk very often about propaganda and mind control. And what this is doing to people's soul is, first of all, the juxtaposition of porn next to Fox News and the Drudge Report and CNN, the Daily Mail. This is completely different, isn't it? But there it is juxtaposed with it, right? So you got your news and you got your porn, and what this is doing is normalizing. Anyone who clicks on that, because people have a natural interest in what other people are doing, they have a natural interest in sex. It's just natural. It's God-given, frankly. And everybody, almost without fail, has a little bit of, ever since their teenage year, preteens or whatever, a little bit of insecurity and, am I normal? You don't believe me? Okay. Read your girly magazines, and I don't mean Playboy or any of that stuff. I mean Cosmo and 17, and I don't even know if that's still around. All the ladies' magazines. There wouldn't be a demand for all the articles that you see in there if people weren't wondering if their thoughts and feelings and activities are normal and all these kinds of things, and plus whatever. My point is that people will click on this, right? And we're not privy to how many clicks different links get, but believe me, they know. Who's they? The powers that shouldn't be, the people that influence or direct or control Mr. Drudge or Mr. Drudge himself. They know, okay? And they aren't going to put dud links on here, right? So anyway, kind of going the long way around here. When you see that Pornhub, Xvideos, XNXX is more popular than Twitter and Instagram and eBay and Wikipedia and Craigslist and all this, it's like it normalizes it for you, doesn't it? Whether you think about it or not, it's making it look like everybody's doing it. Oh, haven't you ever heard that? Everybody's doing it. Man, when you're coming up, and believe me, we have not... Okay, what's going on here? Okay, there we go. If when you're coming up, people generally, worldwide, in whatever culture, They are aware of what's culturally acceptable, what's expected, what the norms are, what the boundaries are being set by the people around them. It should be mom and dad and the family, and dad being the spiritual leader of the home and being rooted in the Word. That's the way it ought to be. Okay, but it's not, and we know it's not, and probably it may not be. Maybe it wasn't in your upbringing, and maybe it's not in your house today. Okay, but the point is that it is being created. Boundaries and cultural expectations are continually being created by us, by the television, the disc jockeys, the radio, the talk news, these news sites like this, particularly the news stories they bring us on the mainstream things like MSNBC, CNN, Fox, and I don't know, what are some other ones, whatever, okay? But at any rate, that's the point of this. Now, let's take it another step deeper. I don't know who SimilarWeb is. They could tell you anything they want. How do we know this is true? Right? Is this really true? Really? Pornhub is more popular than Twitter? Isn't everybody on Twitter? I mean, maybe they don't use it. No, not everybody's on Twitter. I know there's tons of... I'm not on Instagram. I don't know enough about it, but I hear about it. Lots of women seem to be on Instagram or Pinterest. Where's Pinterest on this? Maybe I'm thinking of Pinterest. Down here, 23. Okay, there you go. It's more all four of them that were named here. That maybe there's another one. Let's see. Where's Pinterest? Okay, but there's still more below. Now look, if you've never heard of these sites, don't go check them out. Okay, I'm not here to lead someone astray or get them off on a side road. It's not important, you know. In fact, porn is not porn like you think it is. It's not just two people having sex and you get to see all the naughty bits. Okay, there's a lot of perversion that is it's a lot of real perverse stuff. Okay, even if stuff is being like portrayed, or like what's the word I'm looking for? If something's titled, maybe it's titled a certain way, and that's not what the relationships between the people really are. But like incestuous stuff, it's all there. Okay. And anyway, my point being is, don't go to these sites. But the thing is at least not because I put it in your consciousness today. So the fact is that Pornhub, Xvideos, XNX, they're telling you that everybody's doing it, right? You might be missing the boat. Oh, it's normal. Oh, it's not that bad, Well, I don't know. At your own risk, but they're telling you this for a reason, and we don't have any real reason to believe that this is actually truly the stats. They want you to believe that everybody's doing it, that it's super popular, that everybody around you is deep inside just a sex machine, lust maniac, sex maniacs, sex obsessed, and that it's okay, that it's okay. Everybody's doing it. So you ought to do it too. Well, you're running a huge risk, because you're running a huge risk going there, It's where they want you to go. Well, I don't have all the stats and all this kind of thing, but, if you're a married man or married woman, those things can destroy your marriage. Destroy it. Oh, it's just on video. It's harmless. Not, it's not like I'm going out and sleeping with the prostitute. Well, out of the heart come the issues of life. Be careful what you put in your heart. You may not be with prostitute now, but where's it going to lead you? Sin always takes us further than we wanted to go and keeps us there longer than we wanted to stay. Ask me how I know. Because sin does that. We're not a match for it. We're not a match for sin and death, but Christ is. Christ is the one who gives us the power to overcome. All right? So, anyway, I guess I spent a little too long on this subject. I was trying, really, I feel like I'm not making my point, because a lot of people will say, well, it's just a website that tracks, and they're independent, and really? Then wait till I play the clip from tomorrow, okay? We're living in the land of make-believe. Okay? So that link, if you want to check it out. Oh, by the way, I guess, let me check this out here. Now, I'm doing this on a computer, so I don't know what it's like on your phone. Probably, yeah, look at this. So it makes it real easy. For anybody who's curious, they can just click on it, right? They can just click on it and go to the website. Now, lead us not in temptation, right? Don't you ever pray that? Lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. Well, Mr. Drudge is possibly leading, out of all these people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, out of all these millions of people, men and women, and probably teenagers and college age, maybe they got up and they're doing their studies, this and that. They weren't thinking about it. And now what? All it takes is just half a thought and an unguarded moment and clicking on a link. And next thing you know, if they're at the library at their school or university, they're in big trouble possibly, or embarrassed, they get caught, or next thing you know, they are back into some addiction that they've had or overcome. Lead us not into temptation. All right. Anyway, like I said, brace yourselves. We're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, because that stuff will bring death to people's relationships very often, and it can change. I'm not sure I trust all the scientism about it, but they say it changes people's brains and things like that, and whatever. The point being is that it's something that Matt Drudge wants to put at the top, saying porn dominates. Porn dominates. Boy, domination has been something that's come up in the last couple days, and some of the videos where the greedy get off on not just money, but on power to dominate people. Interesting word choice, because it certainly didn't dominate. There were people there. Dominate would be number one. It's not number one. Number 6, if it is at all. That's just one of them. 6, 7, and 8, wasn't it? Anyway, moving on. It's kind of gone a little long on the tooth on that one. So let's move on here. All right. Spanish River High principal removed after comments about Holocaust. Okay. First off, by Lois K. Solomon. Interesting last name. If you know what I mean. So, there may be some new viewers today. And before you start screaming out, anti-Semite, this broadcast, this podcast, whatever you want to call it, is about mind control and propaganda. Be careful calling people anti-Semite. As it is right now, maybe not on this channel, maybe this can get the thing taken down. Actually, it certainly could. There are countries, and I recently heard Canada's the same way, but like, for example, Germany, you can get arrested for being a Holocaust denier. In fact, there's some creepy campfire stories available for that as a topic. I mean, they're not done, but I mean, that's something to look at. So anyway, a principal in heavily Jewish Boca Raton is out of a job. They took away his livelihood. Now, let me tell you, I don't know what this man's beliefs are, okay? But I was talking about this yesterday. There comes a time, there's coming a time, and now is, by the way, where they will not be able to buy or sell if you won't take the mark. Now, is believing the Holocaust the mark of the beast? Well, maybe part of it. It's part of it. Pay attention to who you cannot criticize, right? Isn't this a country of freedom of speech, freedom of opinion? And from what I've read about this, I skimmed it before I started the video. This guy actually, just in an email to a parent, basically said he needed to remain neutral because there are at least two positions on this, right? That the Holocaust never happened, or the Holocaust is, everything they say it is, killed 6 million Jews during World War II. And then there's people who say it didn't happen the way they said it happens, maybe 3, okay? And he told a parent, as a public school official, he needed to remain politically neutral, sensitive to both Holocaust education advocates and people who, meaning what? People who want everyone to know about the Holocaust. They killed 6 million Jews. Never again! And people who deny the destruction of 6 million Jews during World War II. Well, that's interesting. Maybe you'd never heard about this. There are people who say it didn't happen. Isn't anyone curious as to why they say it didn't happen? Are they just all lunatics and liars and nutcases and anti-Semites? Or are these people possibly people who've, just have not accepted the narrative and maybe done a little evidentiary discovery and homework and using a rational thought concluded something a little different? Well, praise be, this guy is at least aware of it. And he's come to a conclusion of I kind of got to be fair to both sides because people have a right to their opinion. Well, not apparently in Boca Raton, okay? Palm Beach County School District didn't see it that way. And on Monday, assigned Lotzen to another unspecified position. Yeah, he's probably sitting in a cubicle in all-day detention like they used to do to us. Getting paid, of course, though. Maybe he's got a computer, but it's like we're putting you over here away from the people and taking away your title, and we're going to put you out to public shame. But we can't fire you exactly, at least right now. I'm sure the lawyers are working on it. His email exchange with the parent created a furor in Boca Raton, the home of many Holocaust survivors and their descendants, and spurred an investigation by the school district. A new principal has not yet been named. Mr. Lotzen made a grave error in judgment in the verbiage. Is that spelled properly? I don't know. I've always pronounced it verbiage. In the verbiage, he wrote in the email stating, I can't say the Holocaust is a factual historical event because I'm not in a position to do so as a school district employee. He may be true. He may be correct. It may not be because he's a school district employee. I think that was a little bit of a posturing. He's probably quite shocked he's in this position as an accused anti-Semite and Holocaust denier. Make no mistake, if you're a Holocaust denier, you're automatically an anti-Semite. What's that mean? It means you're as bad as a Nazi who in the narrative would gas a Jew. That's what it means. Make no mistake, man. It's a carefully crafted word that is emotionally charged, a mind control word that in a veiled way says you're a Nazi who would kill us all. You're bad as them. I can't say the Holocaust is a factual historical event. You know what? I think the guy, purely speculating here, seems to me he might have done his own little research into it and he's kind of backed off of he can't promote something he's not sure about. Well, if you weren't there, how can you be sure about it? We've only been told about it in school and film. Now, isn't it curious? I have not done the homework to ferret this out, but we know that Hollywood, where most of the movies come out of, that we've been exposed to all our lives, is heavily Jewish run. Okay? Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Mayer, that's an interesting last name, isn't it? That just came to mind, so I don't know. But my point being is, how many of the Holocaust films that we've seen are created by Jews? You ever thought about that? You see, we need to think about these things. So I can't say the Holocaust is a factual historical event. Now, by the way, I have a feeling I've gotten some new viewers somehow. And if you're a Christian in the United States at least, or Canada, you are probably an evangelical Christian. And evangelical churchianity is heavily Zionist, pro-Israel. Okay, so you might have just gone flying out of the. You might be rending your garments and gnashing your teeth right now, right? You've gone flying out of the back of the wagon as I went around this turn. Well, you know what? Cool your jets. Okay, are you interested in the truth? I am. As I've said before, you need to pray to God that He will lead you into all truth. Truth is not in a vacuum. It's not just one thing. You need to know all the truth about yourself, about doctrine, about what's going on in the world. Give us eyes to see, Lord. Give us ears to hear. Yeah, about everything. And that means this too. And a lot of it's all hard to bear. It's hard to bear, especially when you start to realize how much we've been lied to, and we're being lied to all the time, every day. Okay? So I can't say the Holocaust is a factual historical event because I'm not in a position to do so as a school district employee. In addition to being offensive, this is the age of offense, isn't it, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, all my brothers and all my friends? It's the age of offense. What does that mean? It means nobody wants to be offensive, right? It's kind of in our nature. We want to be accepted. We want to be liked, you know? And nobody wants to be called offensive or said they've done something offensive. So this is mind control, okay? When it's political correctness. The guy's not entitled to his own opinion, and actually he's not even expressing an opinion, really. He's basically saying, I'm neutral right now. There's two sides of this, and I got to be kind of open to both sides being voiced. In addition to being offensive, the principal statement is not supported by either school district administration or the school board. Well, what they're saying is they don't support the Holocaust deniers. The principal statement is not necessarily Holocaust denial. It's just neutral. But they don't care about that. It's like, don't you dare ever question this, right? Quote, not everyone believes the Holocaust happened, and you have your thoughts, but we are a public school, and not all of our parents have the same beliefs, so they will react differently. So this is in his email that he wrote this. He goes, not all of parents have the same beliefs. So there are people in that district who don't believe it happened, and he was writing, apparently, to someone who does. Okay, lots and details efforts to implement the school's Holocaust curriculum, a state mandate since 1994. I guess I didn't read this far before. How about that? It's a state mandate. The school has a Holocaust curriculum. Now, what does that tell you? Okay, you can't have a curriculum that talks about creation, right? But wrote that not every family has been amenable to the lessons. Well, good. Thank God there's people who don't just, that certain things go down their throat sideways, and they're going to spit it out until, they can chew on it a little bit, okay? I work to expose students to certain things, but not all parents want their students to expose, so they will not be, and I can't force that issue. Okay, several petitions circulated that asked school board to fire Lotzen. Kill him! Fire him! Make no mistake, you take a man's, you strip him. First of all, the Jews in Nazi Germany were given the yellow star and, Judah, right? They were labeled and marked out, and I think they put it on their businesses and all this. This is all before it all went down, but they were being labeled, right? Fire Lotzen. Take away his title, his status, social status, stigmatize him, take away his job. Good Jesus. Who's the vicious ones here? Okay. This guy, such a bad guy, because he came to a conclusion. It's like, there's people that don't believe this, and I'm having to tell them this is the facts, and it's like, I kind of see other people have different opinions, and he tells one of them, it's like, look, not every parent, fire him, burn her, right? He's a witch, he's a warlock, burn him. Okay, he could not be reached for comment. He probably is is freaking seeking counseling, because this is a hard thing. His whole world just exploded. What's he going to do? Spanish River parents and alumni condemned what they called the insensitive lots. You know what? Whether you believe it or not, was that insensitive? I thought he was being quite sensitive. He was trying to basically, he wasn't even fence riding. He was just saying, look, there's two sides. Not everybody believes what you believe. But how dare you? That's what the upshot is here. How dare you question the Holocaust? Oh my God. Burn him. Considering the large population of Holocaust survivors and their descendants in Boca Raton and South Florida, more than 10,000 survivors are estimated to live in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties. Really? Good Lord, that's a lot of people. I thought anyway. This number is kind of curious. We need to get back to all the population of the concentration camps, as they're called. This number itself to me is curious. Remember, this is just in 3 counties in the United States. There's a big world out there, okay? Where do they all go? Russia, Israel, Argentina, Brazil, Portugal, England. Really? 10,000 survivors still today, this many years later? That's an interesting number. The second largest concentration in the United States after New York. Okay. A petition on change.org that sought Lawson's dismissal got more than 6,000 signatures. So wow, 60% of these people must have gone to do it. 6,000 signatures. Well, there's a lot of sympathizers, so no, they probably didn't all do this. What Lawson wrote was, quote, appalling, disgusting, said Robin Rubin. Interesting last name, isn't it? Whose children graduated from the school. I think he needs to leave Boca Raton. Run him out of town. That's the subtext. Do you see what's going on here? When you read this, it's just a story. It's a narrative. You can read it with glazed over eyes, and it's kind of interesting, and that poor guy. But when you really think about what's being said, it is vicious, murderous in a lot of ways. Destroy him. Destroy him. Right? Let's see, where were we? Oh, it's a long article. I don't want to get through. I don't want to, I maybe have other things to say. School board chairman Frank Barbieri Jr. issued a statement affirming the school district's commitment to Holocaust education. He said the school district leaders are reviewing the incident. It's an incident. It was an email where he said, look, there's other people who don't believe what you believe. And he's kind of neutral. He didn't want to come out for or against the truth of the Holocaust. It's kind of like saying, worship Caesar, Say that Caesar is God or you die. Isn't it? It is. Okay? It's just like that. Caesar is God. Bow before Caesar or you die. Caesar in this case is the truth of the Holocaust. He just basically said, I can't say at this point, and he kind of couched it like, well, there's other parents who don't believe, and as an employee, I can't take either side because people have different opinions. What is his personal opinion? We don't know. Did he come out and say, is anywhere in this article, does it say that Mr. Lawson, who's given his life to education, he's attained the status of principal, a lot of responsibilities and things like that, and they took him right out for not toeing the party line, for not bending the knee to Caesar. You think about that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all my brothers and sisters and all my friends. Okay. He needs to leave Boca Raton. As board chairman, I assure you the situation is being investigated at the highest levels of the district administration, he wrote. Okay, well, you just secured your job. Several Jewish organizations are planning to offer additional Holocaust, doubling down to Spanish River and its teachers. Education or indoctrination? You to be the judge. They're doubling down, including the Ruth and Norman Rails Jewish Family Services, which assists 400 Holocaust survivors in the Boca Raton area, said Daniel Hartman. I don't know what origin Hartman is. Chief Executive Officer. We are planning on reaching out to Principal Lawson to offer a Holocaust sensitivity training. This is getting hilarious now. for the faculty and administration to ensure that the memory of the Holocaust is never forgotten and never minimized. Well, believe me, it never will be, okay? You're seeing to that, okay? And nobody's out to forget it anyway. Right? World War II happened. What happened? I think there's some room for adjustment as to what we're told happened. Let me put it that way. Oh, geez, if I was principal of a school down there, I'd be run up a flagpole right now. They ran him up a flagpole. Here it is, top of the pole. Here's his picture. Put his face. How many articles? Think about it. Product placement. What they put in front of you is important. First thing you're going to see, his face. This is the man. He is the man. Here is the man. Think about that. Put him up on a cross. They just crucified him. Did they not? Spanish River High School principal. Listen. This is the distillation of what happened. Spanish River High School principal William Lotson was removed on Monday after telling a parent in an email. In an email, that's a private communication. Well, his may, depending on, just like government things, it may not be private in that sense, but it's just an exchange between him and another parent. And I don't know what the preface to how this led up to this. He had to be politically neutral about the Holocaust. Yeah, because there's different viewpoints. This guy did not want to be a propagandist. This guy did not want to be, there's different viewpoints. Whether he agrees with the merits of the other side of the argument or not, he knows that people have a right to their opinion, and he is respecting that. And these people who are outraged, and believe me, they're not all Jewish, plenty of Christians in there, how dare he, anti-Semite, and then plenty of people who are, they're just conditioned to jump on the bandwagon, anti-Semite, he must hate Jews, he's a Holocaust denier, You think this guy could ever travel to Germany? Not now. How do I know? Well, there was a lady from Canada, I believe it was, who, her parents, I think, escaped Germany. I got to review the story again. She went over to Germany and actually went and visited a trial. She basically made a video. She's a violinist. She made a video. Can't think of her name right now. She made a video on her own YouTube channel while in Canada and said, and talked about how she had done a lot of homework and this and that, and she went to her parents and she was upset with them because they told her things and she didn't, that are not true. And then she found herself in Germany supporting some elderly woman who was being tried for making contrary statements against what actually happened in the Holocaust. And she just went and sat in the gallery, basically, of the trial. Well, the jackboots came and rounded her up and threw her in prison because of her YouTube video she made in Canada. Right? Did you know about this? Yeah. The world is on fire. Okay. All right. Moving on. So let's see. Maybe you're sick of the story already. I kind of am, and maybe we've already gotten enough out of it. But let's go on. There's more. They didn't put all these words in here for no reason. So let's just see what else they're really, really laying it on thick. Okay, they're planning on reaching out to Principal Lotson to offer sensitivity training. You know what? I hope, Principal Lotson, you tell them to shove it up their ass. Excuse my language, church lady, or whoever. Every once in a while, you're going to hear me, for effect, say that, okay? I hope he tells them to shove it. Whatever he believes, okay? Even if he believes the Holocaust is what it is and he was just being respectful to the people who don't, sensitivity training, we're talking re-education camp. Yeah, he may have to voluntarily go and sit a couple hours a week in some videos and lectures, and go meet with the Holocaust survivor, and whatever their training involves. It's not like they're going to lock him up and wake him up at 4:30 every morning and make him sleep on a cold slab and all that kind of thing. But make no mistake, this is a re-education. Grown man, look at him. This guy's got to be in his, I don't know, late 40s at the youngest probably, or 50s, I would think. He's at the pinnacle of his career, his trajectory of what he probably went to school to become a teacher, and who knows, and continued, probably got a master's in education or administration or whatever, and he's a principal of a high school. Tough job, I would think, even if I don't agree with, I wish I would have quit school and stayed quit when I was 16. Stayed quit, yeah. Stayed out of school. Just said, thanks you very much. I've reached the age of legal age. I can say, shove off, and shoved off. And taken off to Costa Rica or somewheres, okay? And educated myself the rest of the way. And I mean that. I mean that wholeheartedly, okay? I mean that with all my heart. I wish I would have left school, never gotten a high school diploma, and yeah, you'd be flipping burgers by now, and that's all you'd ever be, or digging ditches. Yeah. At this point, that wouldn't matter to me. I wouldn't be part of the Borg, and I wouldn't have had to waste a lot of years, shedding all the, purging all the garbage dumped on me, fighting all the chaos, all the disorder, all the poison that's been dumped on me. And you, by the way, are you sensitive to it? You ever do a detox, right? When you do a detox physically, there's antecedents in physical detox when it comes to your truth lies detoxing from lies. How about that? All right, so let's finish up here. Okay, it's interesting, all these names. I guess it's to be expected. I mean, there's 10,000 Holocaust survivors, apparently, and their descendants in Boca Raton. Now, remember, didn't say 10,000 survivors and their descendants. Said 10,000 survivors. That's a lot of elderly people. Good grief. It's hard to imagine. Kind of hard to imagine. Watson was not trying to hide his interactions with the parents. You know why? Because he didn't have anything to hide, said Sharon Schneiderman. Interesting last name. A member of Spanish River's School Advisory Council and former PTSA president. Not sure what that is. They probably said what that stood for earlier. Don't remember. He told the council in May 2018 that some parents were unhappy with the way the school is teaching the Holocaust. So, parents complained to the principal. Their kids come home. They're children, by the way. Well, I guess if they're going to government school, they're still kids. That's another story, okay? Kids are goats. I hope you stop calling your children kids. It's a mind control word. Stop doing it. They're children, aren't they? Anyway, he told the council in May that some parents were unhappy. This is 2018. A year ago, year and a few months ago, they were unhappy with the way the school is teaching the Holocaust. Fair enough. He took the complaint to the school advisory board. Let's see if they tell us how they responded. Quote, he's dealing with 1,000 of these parents, and he's trying to be responsive, but he's got all these things he's juggling. Well, I'll say, said Carlos Romero, a parent of a recent graduate. I don't think his life needs to be eviscerated over this mistake. Well, way down here, they did offer that. That's good. Somebody's reporting at least something here about this, and acknowledging that he's being eviscerated. It doesn't matter. Just because they think his life doesn't need, he's already been eviscerated. Has this guy had a fair trial? Is there a presumption of innocence? No. He's already been eviscerated. This is a crucifixion. This is a hit piece right here. It doesn't have to go any further. He's done. Stick a fork in it, he's done. Okay? But the district said the issue has created an uproar that leaders sought to quell. Boy, this reminds me of Pontius Pilate and the Jews, and he had to satisfy them. I don't want to explore that analogy too much further, but it's what uproar that the leaders sought to quell in this heavily Jewish district. That just kind of comes to mind. Ha ha ha. That's funny to me. Quote, based on a series of meetings with the regional office, Mr. Latson was counseled about the choices he made in response to a parent and email messages. How humiliating was that? He's a principal. This is the kind of thing a principal sits down, or vice principal, with a student and helps them make better choices and talks about, look how they're treating him. Like a child. Like a slave, really, basically. Make no mistake. Additionally, he was instructed to further expand the Holocaust curriculum at Spanish River. Wow. He also spent several days at the United States Holocaust Museum to increase his personal knowledge. Okay, so this was This was, he was trying to comply. He wanted to keep his job, I'll tell you that. I don't know. He looks like a guy who probably has children. You know, you're going to be a principal. You're probably a family man. You probably have a wife and at least one child. And I don't know what age group, but the guy has a house. He lives in Boca Raton, probably isn't cheap. And he's probably used to a certain lifestyle. He's got a certain mortgage payment in all likelihood. Again, speculating, but I'm an odds player. And what's he going to do? I bet his wife said, you better just, you know, what are we going to do if you lose your job? He said, you're right, honey. I'll just go along. What can it hurt? You know? Well, that's not enough. He also spent several days at the United States Holocaust Museum to increase his personal knowledge. Quote, despite these efforts, his leadership has become a major distraction for the school community. You know what? When you step out of line in some situations, and in this one, there's no coming back. You've left the reservation. You don't get to come back. Like a cult. Okay? That's like a cult, isn't it? Once you question the leadership, once you question the narrative, once you question the doctrines, and you step outside and you appear to betray them, shunned. Shunned. It is therefore, isn't there a word called ashunda? Is it a Jewish word? I don't know what it means. I got to look it up. It is therefore in ashanda maybe. I don't know. I got to look it up. It is therefore in the best interest of students and the larger community to reassign Mr. Lotson to a district position. Whenever I hear the word reassign, I think of reassignment surgery. They're neutering him. So in a sense, yeah, they've neutered him. He's neutered. Lois Solomon. At least she put Mr. Romero's comment in there. A Brandeis, no, again, consider the source. I don't know who she is. A Brandeis, she might have married a guy named Solomon. A Brandeis University graduate. I don't know much about that university. I've heard of it, but I don't know much. She has also worked at the Daytona Beach News Journal and the Palm Beach Post. All right, fair enough. So the video has probably gone on an hour. I would like to, you know, just for the newer viewers, they have changed the headline. Branson on the brink. Galactic goes public. Okay, IPO offering sounds like. Here's Kevin Spacey. It's a prurient story. He's a homosexual, and he advanced on some people, groped them or something like this. Yeah, assault. He had to have tried to touch him or something like that. You know, is this news? No, it's gossip. Because he's innocent until proven guilty. Here's summer sad, stale state of movies, a new low in creativity. Okay, here's Michelle Obama, Michael Obama, I would say. By the way, I will say this. Again, this has to do along the line with the lascivious stuff. Yes, I support great sex at every age. Really? Okay, so let me just pull this up for a second. You know, I probably opened a can of worms by saying Michael. You know, some of you might have gone flying out of the back of the wagon right there, even if you're a conservative. What are you talking about? Well, you know what? I don't know if this is a man who's done hormone therapy and things like that. I tend to believe this is someone what you call a hermaphrodite, who sadly, unfortunately, is one of the rare individuals who might have been born with both sets of genitalia. There's clearly something amiss with this person, but she's working an agenda, and you know, that's all there is to say about right now. This is all about, you know, of course, people want to read this about her sex life. You know, you can look into that if you want. If that's news to you, then do some homework. That's all I can say about it. I've never been seen this individual naked, but practically, you know, clothing can reveal a lot of things. Okay, and then there's bone structure. There's a lot of tells that there's something amiss with this person's physicality and identity, and in effect, there's deception that's been going on. And we also know that the former president, he has a very sexually shady background. Let's put it that way. You know, I don't know the man, but there's a lot of smoking guns. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you know, I mean, he's gone for now. I mean, he's still on the scene and he's still being influential, but my point being is that this is Hollywood gossip. That's what I wanted to get at. It's Hollywood type of gossip. It's prurient stuff. One other thing I wanted to note is that, let's see here. The music festival scraps charging white people double to attend. Now, this is important. I talked about this, I believe, yesterday. It doesn't matter. Do you think they thought they'd get away with this? Just like an attorney never asks a question they don't know the answer to. Generally, these kind of stories or things that happen, or if they even happened, they know what's going to happen. Let's say they knew they were never going to get away with this, right? So what was the importance of doing it? It was important, and it's effectual. It's called a trial balloon. This is conditioning. Constantly we're being conditioned, Porn's a household word now. Even if somebody doesn't watch it, it's joked about a lot, and it wasn't like that 20, 30 years ago. It was very much, it was a lot less prevalent. It was a lot less, you had to actually go to either an adult bookstore type of thing, or you had to go to a, what do you call them? Video store and go in a back room and come out of there with a dirty VHS box or tape and go up and face the girl behind the counter, or guy behind the counter, or the lady behind the counter, and show your face that you wanted to watch some smut. Believe me, that was prohibitive. Now people can watch it on their phone at work if they want to. Anyway, so lots of stuff here. You know what? Forget about it. The news is not that important. It's all a bunch of stuff that's designed to poison our souls, misdirect us, mislead us, cause us to lose our hope, cause us to lose our joy, to give us a state of anxiety and uncertainty, And I'm going to read from Psalm 2 here. And the title is this, The Reign of the Lord's Anointed. Now, brothers and sisters, you are the Lord's anointed if you belong to him. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Now, let me tell you, the kings of the earth are not just the people in purple majesty, okay? With the golden crowns and scepters. The kings of the earth are the super rich, the influential, the powerful. They don't have to have a kingdom of a country, all right? Think about that. And the rulers take counsel together. So this is a conspiracy right here. Kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord. So that they who are working an agenda that furthers Satan's dominion in the world are working against the Lord. That's accepted. But do you always keep in perspective that you are his anointed? All my brothers and sisters and all my friends, that you are his anointed, and they take counsel against together. They set themselves, and the kings of the earth set themselves, the rulers take counsel together, not just against the Lord, but against his anointed. That's you. That's your house. That's your job, your income. That's your, they take counsel and set themselves against you, his children. Let us break their bands asunder. You could read that another way. Let's break up their families. Okay? Let's break their hold on the word. Let's break their hold on the truth. Let's break their hold on their sense of peace. Let's break their hold on their joy. Okay, let me read it as it's written. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Right? Do we have any cords on these people? Do we have any ability to really are we yoked to them in a way that we can help steer? Like two oxen yoked together, one can't go one way without affecting the other. Can we go one way and affect them? Well, I think we can with the Lord's help, I mean, David slew Goliath, and he's the same God today as he was then. And you are no less loved, valued, or less powerful than David with his sling and his against that giant. And there were giants in the earth in those days, and perhaps there are today. That's another topic. But let me say that it says, "Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." Now, they haven't fully done that. They're continually working, like Chinese water torture, like eroding a rock, drip, 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 drip. So when you come and you get drips out of this faucet, or whatever faucet you get your news from, mind control is all around you. You are being poisoned. You're being, unless we frame it in the Word of God, in the knowledge of the truth, with wisdom, how can we stand? It's a flood. It's a flood. We lost the picture right here of a flood. And there was things to riff on about that. Let me finish this entire verse. Like I said, you're going to get some scripture today, and I haven't even read all the things I pulled out. He that sits in the heavens shall laugh. That's the Lord. Now, it doesn't mean he's having a good old chuckle and having fun, but it's no thing to him that they are doing this. He that sits in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. That day's coming, my friends. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. It's a horrible thing to fall into the hands of an angry God. Not an angry God, but the angry God, of the living God when he's angry at you. Okay? Thank Christ himself that he's taken the wrath of God for you and for me, for my sins. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. That would be the Lord. Okay, I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, You are my son. This day I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I shall give you the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So the battle belongs to the Lord. Okay, and the Lord he inhabits the praises of his people. He's also the Word. He's the Spirit of truth, and we need to be. That's where the battle belongs, right? All right, so this might even be 90 minutes. I don't really know, but I'm going to still go out on a song, okay? And I hope you enjoy it. It's called The World is a Ghetto. And it is. And by the way, what is a ghetto? I want to read it to you. Let's read the definition of a ghetto, okay? A ghetto is a part of a city in which members of a minority group live, typically as a result of social, legal, or economic pressure. Ghettos are often known for being more impoverished than other areas of the city. Do you know the financial sector in London they call the city? Okay. Let me tell you that this is obviously the earthly definition, or the very provincial definition of a ghetto as being part of a city in which a minority group live. And you probably already knew that, but what I want to point out, it's a result of a social, legal, or economic pressure where people live impoverished more than other areas of the city. Now, the world is a ghetto. You and I live in the ghetto. Have you not yet heard that 1% of the population own 99% of the wealth of this world? Something like that. Close enough. Okay. Who are those people? Are they the rich that will weep and howl that their riches will canker? Yeah, they are. It's coming.